I don't really know how to start this video. I want to talk to you today about me taking a little break from YouTube, and I just felt like sitting down and having this chat with you, kind of like a heart-to-heart, about what's been going on with me and why I decided to take a break from YouTube for a while and what my plans are. This is not going to be a very dramatic video, but I do just want to take some time to talk about how I'm doing and also just the challenges I'm sometimes experiencing as a full-time content creator on this platform, but also just because I feel like it is important to be honest on this channel and not just talk about or show the good things, but also talk about the challenging things. I talk a lot about self-care on this channel, but I also know that it is not always easy because that's how I experience it too sometimes. And I feel like sometimes I might come across as someone who has it all together or who has everything figured out, and that is not always the case. So I just wanted to share this story with you to let you know that you are not alone if sometimes you feel overwhelmed by everything, because I'm struggling with that sometimes too. And I also just wanted to make this video because I know that community posts don't always reach everyone, videos too. But I want to do my best to make sure that as many of my viewers and my subscribers see this video, or at least hear the message that I'm taking a break, because every time I upload a video on a different day than Saturday, which is my usual day, I always get emails from people asking me if I'm all right, people being worried about me, which I think is very sweet, and I take that very seriously. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing what I can to let everyone know that I'm just taking a break and that I'm fine and that I will be back soon and that I'm not like ghosting anyone. And I want to talk to you about those things today, but I also just want to share some thoughts about productivity, burnout, self-care, self-worth that I've been having recently, so that the video also provides value on its own to those of you watching. So I'm not going to leave you hanging until the end of the video to let you know what my break is going to be. So I'm going to take a break for the rest of the month of September. So I'll be back in October. And I know that that is a very short break, but to me it's kind of like a big deal, and I haven't taken a break like this ever since I started the channel 5 years ago. I've taken little weeks off here and there, but I've never taken off more time than a week. And even with those weeks off here and there, I still worked. Like, there were still emails to reply to and comments to reply to, and oftentimes there were things that I needed to prepare for next week's YouTube video or Patreon video, so I still did some work behind the scenes. And I haven't really had a break where I can really get some distance between myself and my work, or myself and the channel. And that's what I now feel like I really need. So this might come as a surprise to you, or maybe if you're on Patreon, not so much, because I've talked about it a bit more on Patreon. But I haven't been feeling my best lately. It's been going on for a while, probably since like April, May this year. And I've already been through a really severe burnout 5 years ago, and I'm recognizing some of the same signs and symptoms that I have experienced back then. And of course, this time I want to learn from it, and I want to take action and actually listen to those signs and do what I need to do to feel better, because obviously I don't want to burn out again. It took me 2 years to recover from my burnout last time. Obviously, that's not something that I want to have happen again, so I have learned from it, and I am noticing these signs now, and I want to take action just to prevent getting to that state of no return, basically. So just to give you an idea of some things that I've been feeling recently, just overall more tired than usual, just overwhelmed, overstimulated, overworked. My brain feels foggy a lot of the times when I have to do creative work, like write a script for a video or edit a video. And I still love my work. I still am feeling passionate and enthusiastic about it, but I do notice that my regular work tasks are more draining for me now, where I'm truly like exhausted at the end of a workday. I also just noticed some signs in my body, like my muscles in my neck are really like stiff and kind of sore. Just my emotions are more like frayed and fragile than usual, so I might get mood swings here and there. Like one minute I feel fine, next minute I feel really emotional or sad or moody. I tend to cry easily when watching sad movies, for example, but recently it does not take much to get me to tear up. So all of these things combined are telling me that I'm not that balanced at the moment, and it's not anywhere near the symptoms that I had when I actually experienced burnout, but it's kind of like that first stage. Being a full-time content creator, doing this as a job, it's one of the best things that have ever happened to me. I'm still so grateful for it. I still love it so much, but sometimes it can also just be a lot. And that's why you probably see a lot of creators talk about creator burnout, because it's a real thing, and I experience that too sometimes. Lately, I'm just feeling a little overwhelmed by the sheer amount of work that it takes to upload a video every week on YouTube and twice a month on Patreon. I feel like I'm always struggling to keep up with my uploading schedule, where I really have to give it my all and really like work very hard to do everything on time. So I'm always feeling like I need to like catch up. And by the time Saturday comes around and my video gets uploaded to YouTube, it's one of the most fun moments of my week for me. But by that time, I'm also just really tired from having done all of that work. But then I still do some hours of replying to comments. Same thing on Sunday. Sometimes I also have to prepare some things for next week's video on Sunday already. So then by the time Monday comes around, I still haven't had a proper weekend. And I'm still tired, but there's also that pressure to already keep going with next week's video. And it's been week after week after week for a long time like that. So it's starting to feel a little bit like this never-ending cycle, this never-ending grind, and I just feel like I need to catch a breath. I need to step off it for a while and just catch a breath and not think about work for a little while. And it's not like I'm completely disregarding all of the advice that I share on the channel about self-care. I do try my best to practice self-care, but it's not always easy. I do take breaks during my workday to, leave my laptop and have a cup of tea and all of that. I never work in the evenings, almost never. I do take a break, like a week off or off, half off here and there, and I do all those things. But I feel like it's not enough, and it's difficult when I feel like my work demands more from me than sometimes I have the time or the energy to give, and there's never a moment when I can truly like catch a breath for a while, and that's what I feel like I really need, because I feel like I'm being lived a little bit lately, instead of living life first and then putting work, just incorporating work into that. I'm always putting work first, and yeah, I feel like I am being lived a little. And while working like this gives me all of that freedom and flexibility to decide my own work hours, which is amazing and very good for me, I still feel like I have been putting work first too much, especially these last 6 months. There have been things that I've been really wanting to do, but I just haven't had the time for, or just even the energy or the headspace for, to even think about, because even if I'm not working, I'm thinking about work. So there have been these things that I just haven't been able to make happen. For example, just little things like I've been wanting to visit a museum or a couple of museums for a while now. They're pretty close by, but I just haven't had the time or the headspace to go and do it. I have this friend who moved away a couple months ago who I really miss, and I've been wanting to go and visit her, but I just haven't found the time for it. My boyfriend and I will be together for 20 years this November, this year, which is just wonderful and very strange. And you would think that that gets me like excited to think about ways that we could celebrate this special occasion, maybe go away together or something like that. But even for those things, I just felt like I haven't had the time or the energy or the headspace to think about it. And I just feel like I need to step off the hamster wheel for a little while, catch my breath, and focus on living my life first, not second. And it's also just the creative part. So far, I haven't had a situation where I didn't know what to make a video about. Luckily, I've always felt like I had a few ideas to choose from that I feel excited about. So I've always just felt good about the projects that I'm working on. but I also feel like maybe my inspiration is drying up a little bit. And that is because I mostly get inspired by life, by going places and seeing things and doing things and talking with people and stuff like that. And with me just sitting behind my laptop inside all day, every day for such a long time, I feel like that isn't really happening enough. So I am looking forward to just doing the things and experiencing things without immediately thinking about how to turn that into content. So just being. I often talk about self-care and the importance of taking a break and things like that, and I just feel like I also just want to walk the walk and not just talk the talk, and also include you in that, because I feel like we all know self-care is important, but it's just not always easy to do, especially if we have work and obligations and everything. When I was going through my burnout, I learned a very valuable lesson, and that is that if we don't take time for ourselves, our body will make sure that we take time for ourselves. And I don't want that to come off as like scary or a warning, but I do think it's true, and I want to take time for myself now. So I'm going to do two things. First is resting and recovering, and second is going out and doing some fun things. Actually going to those museums, meeting up with people here and there, and mostly just to have the opportunity to wake up in the morning without immediately thinking about which video I need to film that day, or which video I need to edit or write, or things like that. And this is hard for me, if you can believe it. It was actually my boyfriend who gave me that push to take a month off, because I wanted to take a week off. And he knows me better than anyone. He could tell that I needed something different, and he was completely right. So I am also just a little bit scared, but I'm also very excited and obviously very grateful that this is even an option for me. And the scary part, that's about YouTube. YouTube as a platform does not really promote creators taking breaks, I feel. Actually really does not like it if you take breaks. So there's a very strong preference in the algorithm for new content. And I notice a really big difference if I post weekly, as opposed to what I sometimes do. I'll post 2 videos over 3 weeks, so there will be a week and a half in between. I can clearly see a difference in views and of course therefore also income. So for me to not post for an entire month, I know that it is very likely going to stop all of the momentum that my channel has going for a while, and I'll need to build that up again. And that's a little scary. I've always known that YouTube is a bit unreliable as your main source of income, simply just because it fluctuates so much. You know, one month AdSense is a lot more or a lot less than the previous month. So I know that, and I've always been able to deal with it quite well and not feel scared, because of the fact that I've always worked at it with everything that I have. I feel like I'm putting in as much as I can to make this channel a success, and then everything what happens later with the algorithm, that's out of my hands, so I'm just not going to worry about it. So for now, not posting makes me a little nervous because I've always just viewed the algorithm as kind of like an afterthought. Like, I'm doing my best, I'm putting in everything that I can, I'm working as hard as I can, and whatever else happens, happens. I think it's also just a part of my personality. I don't really like the word, but I don't know a better word to describe it. So I am kind of like an overachiever, in a way where I'm always putting work first and being very responsible and trying to get things as good as I can get them and like put in everything that I have. And I know that about myself. I think this is partly what got me in that situation of burning out a while ago. So I know I need to try and counteract that a little bit, and I think this could be a good learning opportunity for me to just let go of control for a while and just see what happens, and just realize that everything will be fine and everything will work itself out. And to yeah, I think that's could be a good learning moment for me. I'm getting a little emotional, I don't know why. It's been a long time since I've had a break like this. That's been more than a week. It's been years and years, and even with those weeks off, I still worked like part-time. So it's been such a long time since I've actually had a proper vacation and get some distance between myself and my work, and I guess I just feel a little bit upset with myself that it took me so long, and even now that I needed someone else to push me to take a month off instead of a week off. So I guess I should listen to my own videos more. I've said this before, I don't remember if it's been on YouTube or on Patreon, but I often feel like the advice I share in my videos is also the advice that I still need to hear myself sometimes. And that is because it is based on my own experiences and my own struggles, and with me always feeling that need to like do things right and live life right and have everything in order. I just feel like this could be a good step in a good direction. Also, just me being a highly sensitive person, I know that I need more downtime than I'm allowing myself, so there's that as well. I know it might be difficult to imagine if you're watching this, because I didn't know this before I started YouTube myself. It's like making 1 or 2 videos a week, like how long can that possibly take? But let me tell you that it takes a long time and it's a lot of work. Making one video from start to finish takes me anywhere between 2.5 to 3 full work days. And so in weeks where I have 2 videos to film, one for YouTube and one for Patreon, that's a lot. And then combine that with everything else about running your own business, replying to comments, replying to emails, contacting brands that I might want to work with, my newsletter, my bookkeeping, and just my website and countless other things. It's a lot of work, and it's week after week. The beauty of being self-employed is that I can work on my own terms. I decide what my videos are going to be about, how I want them to be valuable for my viewers. No one is making me do things that I don't feel comfortable with. And I'm actually passionate about what I do, and that was very different when I was working a corporate job. I felt quite unhappy. I had to fake being interested in my own work. And honestly, now that my work is like this, I never want to give this up. It is very important to me. But the downside of that is that if I don't work, no work gets done. I have to do it all myself. Sometimes I do get help, like I'll ask my boyfriend which thumbnail he likes better or which video title he thinks would be better if I'm, struggling between 2 choices. Sometimes if I need business advice or just rant about my experience, I can call my friend Sarah from Abundantly Minimal or chat about it with her, so I have some help here and there. But when it comes to the actual work, I have to do all of that myself, and I'm a small YouTuber, so I cannot afford to hire an editor or things like that. So it's a lot. And some weeks I feel really motivated and inspired and on top of the world and work is easy. And other weeks I feel just kind of empty and tired, and I feel like I have to really reach in there to grab something out, anything to work with. And I can never just say, you know what, you do it this time, because there's no one else. This is not me complaining about my job. Obviously, I have a really cool job and I'm really grateful for it. And it's not by any means a hard job when you compare it to other jobs out there. All that said, this is my reality now, and I need to find a way when I get back from my break to see if I can find some things that make my work a little bit less draining for me sometimes. Also, if you're also a menstruating person like me, you might know that sometimes it is really a lot harder to work at the same level, to be as productive as the other weeks. And I have PMDD, so the weeks before my period are very rough on me, and I can't always work. I actually feel ill. So there's that to consider as well. But that's not for now to think about. Right now, I just feel like I need some space, some breathing room, and we'll see, we'll go from there. I've done a lot of reflecting recently about productivity and self-worth, and I know that I'm not the type of person who ties their self-worth to their productivity. I know that breaks are just as important as being productive. They're part of it, so I never feel guilty or anything. I don't. I think breaks are awesome, so I don't have that experience of me feeling lazy or beating myself up if I'm not being productive. But I do still feel like it's difficult for me to not be productive. Work just always comes first for me, especially recently, even though when I think about it and what I want out of life and what I value most, work is not the top priority for me. It ranks pretty high up there now that I have a job that I love, but it's not in the top 3. It's not things like health or spending time with people that I love or feeling free to explore new interests and grow and things like that. But even though I know I value those things more, that hasn't been reflected in my actions recently. It's not reflected in my schedule. Work does come first. And if that leaves me feeling too tired for all of those other things, then that is the price I pay. And so having like really realized that recently, I want to make some changes in that regard, and this is a first step. So a couple things, if you've made it this far into the video, I want to first ask you to see if you're subscribed to the channel and possibly even turn on your notifications for this channel temporarily or permanently, whatever you want. But the reason I ask is that when I do get back in October, you will be less likely to miss that video if you're subscribed with your notifications on, because YouTube will probably not promote that video very well because I've been taking a long break. So even if you are subscribed, it is very likely that you will not see my new video when I get back in your home feed. This is true always, unfortunately. But if you are subscribed and you turn on your notifications, the chances will be higher that you will see my video when I get back. Another thing you can do is sign up for my free weekly newsletter if you're not subscribed already. I always send out a newsletter right when the new video is also posted. So if you want to make sure that you won't miss it when I get back, this is a good way to do that. And I also always add some more value to my newsletter in the form of like a short story. So I think they're kind of fun, if I do say so myself, and you can sign up at simplehappyzen.com/newsletter. Also, if you're relatively new here, there's a huge backlog of videos on the channel that you can binge watch if you want during the month of September, so feel free to check those out. And another option is joining us on Patreon, because there are over 60 videos up on Patreon as well to binge during the month of September, so you will have content from me. And you can sign up at patreon.com/simplehappyzen. I am so excited about autumn starting soon. Let me know in the comments if you feel this. I feel like September will be the perfect month for me to, first of all, like do some more introspection, go inward a little bit more, rest, recover, but also to go out and explore and experience and live, because it's finally not so hot out anymore. I want to thank you for being here and for always having my back. It means so much to me. You have no idea how much my community means to me in that sense. I already know that I'm really going to miss you all during the month of September. I'm also just really looking forward to my break, but I'm also looking forward to being back again in October. And I would love to hear from you your thoughts about productivity and self-care and the balance between those two things. So please leave that in the comments. As always, questions, comments, conversations down below. I will be in the comment section at least the weekend that this video goes up. So you can find me there, and I wish you a wonderful month of September, and I will see you again in October. Sending you so much love. Bye-bye.